Hello, this is Ogtv News reaching you live from the Gateway State. And I am Iyabo Awujola. First, the highlights. President Tinubu inaugurates 6th ECOWAS Parliament. About 100,000 students of Ogun State origin benefit from Edu Cash Transfer Initiative. Code of Conduct Tribunal suspends Kano anti-graft bar. Plus, Turkey's election authority scraps decision to annul pro-Kurdish candidate's victory.
On business news tonight, federal government's monthly electricity subsidy to crash by 52%. Details of these and more when I return on the business segment of the news. I am Simiat Abaru.
And from the world of sports, Saudi Arabia to host WTA finals until 2026. This and more much later on the news. I am Moses or Jewumi. Stay with us.
Courage doesn't mean you don't get afraid. Courage means that you don't let fear stop you. You can watch us live on these platforms: Apple, Roku, Facebook, and Android devices. You can also watch us live on Ogtv website on www.ogtv.com.ng/live or email info@ogtv.com.ng. And now the news info. The President of Nigeria and Chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, Bola Tinubu, on Thursday inaugurated the 6th legislature of the ECOWAS Parliament in Abuja, Nigeria. The inaugural session of the Parliament, which formally marks the commencement of the business of the 6th legislature, is pursuant to Article 28 of the Supplementary Act on the enhancement of the powers of the ECOWAS Parliament of 2016, following the end of the 5th legislature of the ECOWAS Parliament on March 8, 2024. One of the high points of the inaugural session is the swearing-in of the representatives elected to the community parliament by the various parliaments of member states, with the new members affirming before the chairman of the authority their commitment to serve the interests of the people of the region. At the session, members will also elect Speaker of the 6th legislature to serve a 4-year tenure in accordance with the provisions of the Supplementary Act 2016. The ECOWAS Parliament is the representative assembly of the peoples of the community, which has 115 seats. President Bola Tinubu is assuring that Nigeria is maintaining its sovereignty and getting its respect back in the Community of Nations with a steady restructuring of the economy. The president said this when he hosted members of Tinubu Shetima Campaign Council to an iftar at the State House in Abuja. President Tinubu appreciated members of the APC Presidential Campaign Council and the Independent Week for their hard work, which ensured his victory at the poll. He assured them that he is now committed to delivering on the mandate which he worked for to make Nigeria a better country for the citizens and generations to come. He appealed to Nigerians to, in their respective ways and positions, be committed towards contributing to the cause of building a better country.
I campaign on hope. I have to rest on that hope and push for that hope for the joy of every one of us. The economy is looking good. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Yes, we know we have the challenge of inflation. It's okay. We will bring it down. We are re-engineering. Our revenue is getting better, and we are taking our sovereignty and respect back around the world. Not that we have to go there hire them to do the job for us. We are doing it ourselves. Whatever is happening to us, we have to solve it by ourselves. It is your effort, your thinking, your resourcefulness, your investment, your dedication, and hard work that can only get us there.
Then Kashim Shettima encouraged the party members, all Nigerians, to continue to support the president, whom he says has genuine intention for the greatness of Nigeria.
Let us rally around our president, who is determined to reposition this country.
For the National Assembly, sir, be rest assured we'll do everything to support your policies for you to turn this country around.
For the campaign council, even with our dissolution, we remain committed and we will remain ever available for support. And we'll continue to support you. We'll continue to support the Ashwazi Shettima project.
About 100,000 students of Ogun State origin in public primary and secondary schools have benefited from the Edu-Cash transfer initiated by the Ogun State government to cushion the effects of the current economic crisis. Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abayomi Arigbabu, led the monitoring team for the final disbursement of the cash awards in Remo zone. Abeokuta Oladile completes the report.
Excitement filled the atmosphere and song of praises trailed the Ogun State government initiative of payment of cash award to parents of indigent learners in Ogun State public primary and secondary schools. Monitoring the final disbursement to schools in Remo Division, the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology said the Educational Cash Award for Student Help, Edu-Cash, is a program that is in fulfillment of the promise of the state government. Leading the team to schools across Remo, Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abayomi Arigbabu, noted that the payment was one of the strategies used by the government to provide succor to parents to ease the present economic situation in the country.
The intention is to make sure that succor comes the way of parents. So at the primary school and secondary school level, you cannot give money to all those small boys and girls, and that's why we are giving it directly to the parents. But the one for the tertiary institution goes directly to the account of those students in the university, tertiary, and the colleges of education and polytechnics.
Special advisor to the state governor on education, Mrs. Runke Shoyombo, says the beneficiaries are those in need.
Our own palliative, you will see that we've been very intentional about it. We have made it more productive, and even for parents today talking about what they're going to use the palliative for, what they're going to use this particular money for. To me, a lot of them have made up their minds that, look, it's supposed to be used to support their children in so many things.
Those who benefited from the program expressed their appreciation.
I want to appreciate our governor, what you have done for us.
For this kind of gift you gave us, may God bless his way, so more blessed to his elbow.
In addition to 10,000 Naira cash award to 100,000 learners, 50,000 students of Ogun State origin in both public and private tertiary institutions have been paid 50,000 Naira each to help in their educational pursuits. Abeokuta Oladile, Ogtv News.
Chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Students' Loans, Honorable Boiga Isiaka, has assured Nigerians of the present administration's commitment to ensuring adequate funding for the student loan program benefiting students in public tertiary institutions across the country. During a press briefing held in Abuja, Honorable Isiaka disclosed that the required funds for the successful implementation of the student loan program will be drawn from 1% of all revenues accruing to the Federation account. Applauding the initiative, Honorable Isiaka explained that the The repeal of the Initial Student Loan Act aimed to remove all encumbrances that could prevent Nigerian students from accessing the loan. He stated the patriotism and determination to ensure sustainable success led the executive to present these far-reaching amendments, which have now become law. Responding to inquiries about the scheme's possible launch date, he expressed optimism that the executive will promptly establish the management team of the institution. All public and private primary and secondary schools, as well as government science and technical colleges in Ogun State, are to proceed on second-term holiday for 2023-2024 academic session from Monday, 8 April 2024. A statement by the State Commissioner for Education, Science and Technology, Professor Abeokuta, says schools are expected to resume for the third-term academic activities on Monday, 29 April 2024. The statement enjoined parents and guardians to take proper care of their wards during the holidays. Civil servants in Ogun State have been charged to maintain high standard and spirit of excellence, which have made the state civil service one of the best in the country. The state head of service, Mr. Kolawole Peter Fagbo, gave this charge while speaking at a special tree planting session to commemorate his retirement from the civil service. Fowora Adesonwo has more on the event.
Louder.
A special commemorative tree planting for the retiring Ogun State Head of Service, Kolawole Peter Fagbo. No fewer than 12 permanent secretaries accompanied the Head of Service, Mr. Kolawole Fagbo, to the ceremony. They all planted trees one after the other, with the Commissioner for Forestry, Engineer Taiwo Oludotun, leading the way.
But in terms of planting trees, what we have done in our ministry is that we have planted over 3 million trees. We have a target annually. Last year, we planted well over 2 million. And this year, we also have our program. We are still going to about 2 million trees again this year. So we are in the planting season now. We have our seedlings in place. So our aim is to plant about 2 million trees in all our forest reserve this year.
The Head of Service, Mr. Kolawole Peter Fagbo, commended the Commissioner for Forestry, Engineer Taiwo Oludotun, for blurring the lines and gaps between the political appointees and the bureaucrats, while calling on the Ministry of Forestry to sustain its productive drives towards the internally generated revenue for the state. Mr. Fagbo urged workers in the ministry to be on the right track ahead of the day of reckoning.
Well, I would like to be known or to be remembered for someone who came and gave his best, and I wish the best for the public service, because the public service determines how a society will be.
The Permanent Secretary, Bureau of Service Matters, Barrister Dekpo Ogufora, emphasized that trees are for medicine, beautification, and indeed life. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Forestry, attested to this.
Most of the houses that you see that are being removed by storm, if trees are around, they are not likely to be removed. It also helps to checkmate erosion and the gully, creation of gully by erosion around the town. If we have areas that we have erosions that are troubling, if you plant tree there, it will checkmate the effect of the erosion. So we can see that tree is very, very essential to all of us.
Every March 24 is celebrated as the International Forest Day. Fowora Adesonwo, Ogtv News.
Meanwhile, the Ogun State Head of Service, Mr. Kolawole Fagbo, has once again given commendation letters to 11 officers from the public service in recognition of the commitment, diligence, and excellence in service delivery. Mr. Fagbo, while handing over the letters to the beneficiaries alongside 11 permanent secretaries from different ministries, departments, and agencies where the recipients were drawn from, revealed that the officers were tested in various ways and found to be exemplary, both in character and efficient service delivery. He said, since officers are castigated and punished when they err, the onus also lies on him aim to ensure that when they get things right, they are celebrated for doing well, and urged the beneficiaries to allow the gesture spur them to keep delivering in excellent manner.
Written by Abeokuta is late now. The former MD of Guinness. Then the budget of Guinness was far more than the budget of West Africa countries more than Nigeria. His office just was a fraction of this place. He said, among other things, that if someone is doing well, he will not do better, except he or she is appreciated. That's the sense of this gathering.
He saluted them for their doggedness, forbearance, resilience, commitment, and sacrifice to uphold the values of the civil service and encouraged them to keep the flag flying. In their separate responses on behalf of the beneficiaries, the Director of Public Enlightenment in the Ministry of Information and Strategy, Mr. Seyi Oladimiji, and the Assistant Chief Engineer, State Central Mechanical Workshop, Engineer Idowu Mausi, who expressed surprise at the commendation, said the gesture caught them unawares and appreciated the head of service for finding them worthy of it. They pledged that the initiative would constantly bring out the best in them and encourage their colleagues to be up and doing, as they did not have an inkling that they were being watched. Other recipients are Mrs. Oyinlola Oyenuga, Mr. Oluwatoyin Lakwete, Mrs. Bolanle Fadairo, Mrs. Mutiat Fashino, Mr. Oluwemimo Oshidipe, Mr. Aziz Oguntoyinbo, Ms. Oluwaseyi Ajibola, Mr. Wale Adetunji, and Mr. Sulaiman Kashinru. In another development, the head of service, Mr. Kolawole Fagbon, while declaring open a 2-day orientation program organized by the Office of the Accountant General and State Treasury for the officers on inter-cadre, enjoined participants to continue to sharpen their skills and upgrade themselves through continual studying.
In the course of your job, you come across certain individuals in other job categories, as scientific officers, as admin officers, as agric officers, and whatever job category you come across. The rule is that you must cooperate, you must collaborate. There will be synergy between you and other job categories.
However, urged them to cooperate, collaborate, and allow synergy between them and other job categories in the civil service. Similarly, accountants in the civil service have been charged to embrace transparency, honesty, professionalism, and integrity in the discharge of their duties. The Ogun State Head of Service, Mr. Kolawole Fagbo, gave the charge in his address at the 6th and 7th Annual General Meeting of the Accountants Forum in the Ogun State Civil Service held at the Obas Complex, Okemoson, Abeokuta. The Head of Service, represented by the Permanent Secretary, Bureau of Service Matters, Mr. Oladipo Ogunfowora, said their services are essential to the success of any organization and therefore should uphold the tenets of the profession, which are honesty, integrity, accountability, and professionalism.
Our accountants, our wish in all the other cadres, they are like them, that you have this bond of unity, you have this closeness, and you are closely knitted as a group, and that rarely can anybody come between you. You have this high sense of discipline, and you have a way of disciplining anybody who falls out of shape. This is a character worthy of emulation all through the civil service, and he has asked that I specially mention this here.
Separate remarks, the Commissioner for Finance and his counterpart in the Ministry of Budget and Planning, Mr. Dapo Kubadijo and Mr. Olaolu Olabinton, said accounting is a noble profession because it puts the practitioners in the positions of trust, integrity, professionalism, and responsibility, which they must strive to live up to.
profession is a noble profession, honestly. It's a position or a profession of trust. And when you are put in this position, you have a fiduciary relationship or responsibility to others. So you are sitting in your position, maintaining trust, integrity, professionalism, independence, and transparency.
Earlier, the chairman of the forum, Mrs. Ariela Adetayo, in her address appreciated the state governor and the head of service for providing enabling environment for the forum to operate professionally in the civil service, as well as employing more civil servants in their cadre. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Ogtv News at 8. Just ahead, Code of Conduct Tribunal suspends Kano State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission Muhir Magaji. Details and other stories when we return. Do stay. Welcome back. The government of Ogun State says it will not renege in its efforts at promoting peaceful coexistence among Nigerians. Senior Special Assistant to Ogun State Governor on Inter-Ethnicity, Prince Hadisani, made a submission at the peace engagement between the Fulani and host communities at Odeda local government area. Ayodeji Oluwumi has more.
Few weeks after his reappointment and elevation as the Senior Special Assistant to Ogun State Governor on Inter-Ethnic Affairs, Hadisani swung into action by paying a visit to Odeda local government area of the state. The purpose of the visit, according to him, is to enlighten the host and Fulani communities as it pertains to Olokemeji Forest Reserve.
And we'll be able to secure some investors to continue planting trees in that forest reserve. For the instance, we are facing a lot of challenges. And our trees are being damaged, are being cut down, are being cut down, are being eaten by hunters. It is become an issue of concern. Most especially when the investors not reject that they should pull out of this partnership.
The engagement then went into a brainstorming session where ideas on how to preserve the forest reserve were suggested, as well as assurance of safety to investors.
It's a very good idea because it happens in our area also. They damage a lot of our farms, our cassava farms, both in the daylight and at night. So this, and I believe that this meeting will resolve, it will bring out a very good result.
Seriki is here, Bale is here. I go do small meeting with the Seriki now with our people. So we fit date, fit committee where we handle for that place very well because we know we want the thing where they go sekata na peace with the rain, they'll fine.
We have done a lot of meetings. For example, the PS, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Forestry, having a meeting with the Bales, the Nigerian builders, the IMCs, on the same reason we are here today. And the Bales, they have promised us that they are going to talk to their people, and we have the Fulanis, the Serikis also.
I'm confident that good results will come out of the meeting, because with the enthusiasm of those involved, you can see that everybody is concerned that the investors should not lose their deposits. The state government should get full benefit of the investment, and the community where the investments are located should also benefit fully.
In a communique at the end of the engagement, night grazing has been outlawed, while young herders have been prohibited. Ayodeji Oluwumi, Ogtv News. Nigerian government at all levels must make inclusivity a key priority,
particularly to accommodate persons living with disabilities in all spheres of life. A cross-section of Nigerians, however, called for more concerted efforts in ensuring that persons living with disabilities have access to health care and education, which are not only critical for national development, but will ensure that they thrive and fully explore their potentials. Bolaji Sampson reports that they also called for better support for fellow citizens living with disabilities. Her report.
According to the World Health Organization, statistics indicate that over 35 million Nigerians live with disabilities. Hence, such a significant number of people are expected to be cared for by the government so that they can live their lives in full and contribute positively to the development of the nation. There was a demand in a better nation for them as fellow compatriots, as living with disabilities is not by their making. It was noted that living with a disability should not be a death sentence or societal stigmatization, but should be a platform that calls up the humanity in us as their brothers and sisters.
There is supposed to be a law in the nation as a whole that takes care of this set of people, because disability, or I call it challenge, does not mean inability.
9% of places in Nigeria are inaccessible for persons with disabilities, for persons using wheelchairs, for blind persons. The environment is not accessible. So we're talking of buildings, we're talking of roads, transportation. All those are not really very accessible to persons with disabilities. Blind persons should be able to have access to using computers by having screen readers on their computers. Deaf persons should be able to have access to sign language.
I would say it's mobility as well. For us to get here, it has been a very challenge for us. Some people, we spend more than what we expected.
They see a person with disability and conclude that maybe he's jinxed or he's cursed or something like that. So these challenges kept so many people at home. They believed, don't let me even go out.
Expert advocated that persons with disabilities should be given a chance at life, especially as it relates to employment, adding that they deserve it like every other person in the society.
They didn't put themselves in that position, in that situation they find themselves. So we should always have it at the back of our mind that anything can happen to anybody at any time. So whatever position we find ourselves, we want to use it to better the lot of people.
Nigerians were also rallied to break all barriers of discrimination against those living with disabilities, as all are differently gifted. Persons living with disabilities were also encouraged to resort to self-help by standing up for themselves and becoming their own advocate, demanding a better life from society, adding that self-help is the best help. Bolaji Sampson, Ogtv News.
The Code of Conduct Tribunal has suspended the chairman of the Kano State Public Complaint and Anti-Corruption Commission, Muyi Magaji, following allegations of misconduct and breaches of public office conduct. Magaji, who is facing charges ranging from alleged conflicts of interest to false asset declaration and accepting bribes, was arraigned in Abuja on Thursday. The CCT granted a motion for his suspension, directing him to step aside from his position pending the resolution of the case. The Kano State government had earlier dragged the federal government before the High Court over what it described as harassment and intimidation of the PCACC chairman by 3 federal agencies. The 7-man panel set up by the Edo State Chief Judge, Justice Daniel Ogunbowa, to investigate the allegation of gross misconduct leveled against the State Deputy Governor, Philip Shaibu, has fixed Friday, April 5, 2024, for final adjournment for the Deputy Governor to defend himself. The panel took the decision when it resumed its sitting on Thursday, and the Deputy Governor and his council were absent. The chairman of the panel, retired Justice S.A. Omonua, said that the panel will wait to see if the defendant will open his defense, and thereafter called for the defendant. When it became apparent that the defendant, Shaibu, was absent and was not represented, Justice Omonua called for appearance for the plaintiff, the Edo State House of Assembly, which initiated the impeachment process. The legal officer, Edo State House of Assembly, N.U. Ibrahim, announced his appearance for the Assembly with two others. The chairman then ruled that the panel was still adjourned to give the defendant the opportunity to appear before it to present his defense. The Nigerian Navy ship Beecroft has uncovered a building at number 3 Silver Bird Road, Ilasun area of Lekki, Lagos, used as an illegal fuel depot. Consequently, 5 persons, including the suspected leader of the syndicate, have been arrested in connection with the illegal activities. The commander, NNS Beecroft Commodore Rafiu Oladejo, who made the disclosure while briefing journalists, said the arrest was made on Tuesday, April 2. He said 65,000 liters of automotive gasoline was recovered in the illegal depot. He further explained that preliminary investigation revealed that the suspects possibly got the products through pipeline vandalism, illegal vendors at sea, as well as other illegal means along the coastline. The Defense Headquarters has disclosed the names of terrorists involved in several operations in the northern region of the country. The Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, revealed the names to journalists during a briefing in Abuja. The headquarters noted that the terrorist kingpins were killed in separate operations between January and March 2024. Buba added that a total of 2,351 terrorists were killed, while 2,308 were arrested and 1,241 kidnapped hostages rescued during the first 3 months of the year. In a bid to set a new world record as the largest mathematics lesson involving 5,000 Nigerian students, the International Academy for the Gifted, in collaboration with Ogun State Ministry of Education, Science and Technology and the state tertiary institutions, has organized a camping system for selected students in secondary schools across the state. The project, which will hold at Dikpo Dino International Stadium, Ijebu-Ode, on Friday, April 5, 2024, by 10 a.m., is aimed at identifying gifted Nigerian students in both junior and secondary schools who are interested in science, technology, engineering, art and mathematics subjects, and build them up to become world-class geniuses and leaders. It is also an initiative towards improving their quality of participation in STEAM education and in making them achieve their highest potentials, for them to be able to compete favorably with gifted youths of the world in achievements through an enduring partnership network amongst academics in Nigerian universities, Nigerian academics in diaspora, and leadership development. Up next is business news. Stay with us.
You're welcome to the business segment of the news. The Nigerian government's move to revise electricity tariffs is set to deliver a 52% monthly subsidy expenses. The reduction will see the current 261.2 billion naira figure fall to around 125.94 billion naira, unlocking a significant 135.26 billion naira in monthly fiscal savings. The heart of Nigeria's political power, Abuja, harbors the most considerable congregation of premium electricity consumers classified under Band A, who will invariably bear the brunt of the cost recalibration. The breakdown of the impact of the new tariff hike on subsidy cost for each power distribution company disclosed as presented by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC. The Naira on Wednesday continued its game against the United States dollars, appreciating both at the official foreign exchange and parallel market to the delight of many Nigerians. At the Nigerian Autonomous Foreign Exchange Market, the Naira gained 16 Naira or 1.26% as the dollar was quoted at 1,262 Naira 85 kobo per dollar, stronger than 1,278 Naira 58 kobo closed on Tuesday. Data from Securities Exchange indicated this means the local currency has a steady dollar supply, pushes Naira to 1,262 Naira per dollar, continued its positive streak against the grain with expectations of further appreciation. The appreciation of the local currency was attributed to the several foreign exchange policies implemented by the Central Bank of Nigeria to boost dollar supply and enhance transparency in the forex market. African Airlines has seen a 22% year-on-year demand growth for air cargo in February, the strongest among all regions, according to a new report by the International Air Transport Association. The intra-Africa trade lane showed 42.3% year-on-year growth, while February capacity increased by 28.2% year-on-year. IATA had released data for February 2024 global air cargo market showing continuing strong annual growth in demand. Total demand, measured in cargo ton kilometers, rose by 11.9% compared to February 2023 levels, 12.4% for international operations. This is the third consecutive month of double-digit year-on-year demand growth. Capacity measured in available cargo ton kilometers increased by 13.4% compared to February 2023. The Lekki Deep Sea Ports Enterprises Limited has disclosed that the port received 75 vessels, including the first LNG-powered vessel and the largest ship to enter Nigerian water, measuring 366 LOA, and handled 100,000 containers between April 2023 and April 2024. Announcing this in a post on its official LinkedIn social media platform, the port said the feat demonstrated its ability to support global trade effectively. The port noted that with the capacity to handle 14,020 equivalent unit container vessels, it embarked on transshipment activities in June 2023, facilitating over 25,000 transshipment to date. Expressing gratitude for the support received, the port acknowledged the Nigerian Port Authority for providing marine services and tugboats. And finally, Ghana's Cocoa Marketing Board is set to raise the price paid to cocoa farmers for their produce by 50% to share extra profit from rising global prices. A spokesperson from Cocoa Board relayed the information. According to a report, cocoa prices have more than tripled in the last year due to adverse weather and disease affecting the output of cocoa farmers, pushing the global market to a third successive deficit. Before this announcement, the official price cocoa growers in Ghana and Ivory Coast, who supply about 60% of the world's cocoa produce, can charge for their produce, was yet to reflect the current price surge in the global market. Ghana's state guaranteed cocoa price is currently at 20,943 cedis per ton, or around 21 cedis per kilogram. And that's it on the business segment. Back to Yabo for the rest of the bulletin.
Thank you, Simiat. We shall now take some foreign news. Turkey's election authority has scrapped a decision to annul a pro-Kurdish candidate's election victory after days of escalating protests. Elsewhere, Italian Deputy Prime Minister Matteo Salvini has survived a largely symbolic no-confidence vote in parliament. In another development, Ukraine's second-largest city also suffered area attacks on its power plant, part of a pattern of strikes on civilian energy infrastructure. Azizat Ibrahim has details in this package.
On the World Day, Turkey's election authority has